Welcome back to Coding with Zach. Today we are going to learn all about arrays, how to make them, what they do, how to fill them up, how to get stuff out, like literally everything. It's going to be amazing. First thing, what is an array? An array is basically just uh, almost like a data structure, but it's pretty straightforward. It's like a big box with a bunch of little boxes in it. Those are going to be called elements, and they each have an index and they can store data. And it's super important that the data you store in them is the same data. Imagine if you were going to pack up your house, you were going to put your kitchen and some boxes in your bedroom and another box in your bathroom and another box. You wouldn't want to put your conditioner in with like the flour for your cookies or like sugar or whatever. You don't want your toothbrush mixed up with like your pillowcases. That's weird. So the way that you're going to actually physically make the array is by saying the data type you want made, and then literally making a box with the square brackets. You're going to give your array a name, and then say new data type, and then the size of the array. For example, if you wanted to make an array of integers, you could call it inArray, new inArray. It's going to be 10 long. Say you're going to make a array of longs. It's a long array. Or maybe an array of doubles, double array, whatever, string array. Cool. Then you're going to need to fill up your array, because what's an array without stuff in it? So in this case, we're going to use int array, or the name of the array, and then the index that we want to fill. In this case, 0. Arrays are 0 indexed. And then what we want to put in there. And then we are going to use this really cool system out thing to go ahead and print that out. Don't look at that line. Compile, run, and what do you know? 54 printed out. But if we put a 1 in there, it can just as easily have the 72 come out. Oh, first you're going to want to not delete that thing. You can just as easily have the 75 come out. But that's kind of lame, because you're declaring your array and then you're filling it at 2 different lines. Seems kind of beat. So instead, we are going to use the constructor to make the array and fill in the array all in one line. To do that, you just basically do the same thing, but you give it the elements in curly brackets. So in this case, we're going to make second string array. It's going to have 3 elements, foo, bar, and baz. And we are going to print out the first element in the array, which is going to be foo. Even though it's the first element, we are going to use a 0 because that's right, it's 0 indexed. I'll go ahead and comment those out again. But I know what you're thinking. That still seems kind of dumpy, and I don't want to put in my elements one by one. Don't worry, we can use a for loop, or a while loop, or a for each loop, whatever loop you want to use. We're going to use a for loop though, because it's the coolest one. So here we're going to say for int I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, and we're going to basically push the ith character into int array, or the ith integer rather, into the int array. And we're kind of doing that because this is going to go 0, and then 1, 2, 3, so on. And in the same vein, this is going to go 0, 1, 2. So if all goes well with this, when we compile and run the code, we should see a beautiful array represented by one big box, or like one really long rectangle, and then all these smaller boxes inside of it. And I know what you're thinking. That seems really sweet. But what am I going to do with that? Well, let's say you had a more complex object and you wanted to be able to do something to it, like a picture. You could, in theory, use 2 arrays to represent that. One for the width and one for the height. And that's called a multidimensional array. And we have it right down here. What do you know? Somebody typed a bunch of code down here and commented it out. Let's go ahead and walk through it. So to make a multidimensional array, you're going to say the kind of array you want. In this case, I just use strings. And then one box to make an array, and then another box to make another array, and then, if you wanted another array, whatever. Just keep going. Most of the time, they're probably not going to have a bunch of those, just 2. Then we're going to say a new string, and then the size of the array. So we're having 2 10 integer ones. And then we're using these for loops to basically fill up the array. The main thing you're going to want to do is figure out the length of the array. So I'm calling length on multi-array, and that's going to give me how big this array is. And then if you use some more square brackets and then use length on that, that'll give you the length of this array, which is super important. So let's go ahead and compile and run this bad boy. And there you go. You've got this sweet multi-dimensional array, which is kind of a picture in and of itself, but would also represent a picture. So you got the 0,0th pixel, and then you've got the 3th and 4th pixel. So pretty cool stuff there. And that's just kind of a quick overview on arrays. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask them down below in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Our next video is going to look at conditions, I believe. Like if else, if else. I don't think that's one of them. It's mostly just if else and else. But maybe we can look at ternary operations too. That's like a question, then you have like your true condition and your false condition. That's kind of cool too. It's basically like a kind of like an if statement, but really shortened. But yeah, thanks so much.